The Democratic convention is just over 2 weeks away. Democrats are now rallying behind Vice President Kamala Harris to lead their ticket this weekend. She is interviewing vice presidential candidates, and former President Donald Trump is lashing out again at crime in the District of Columbia at a rally on Saturday. Will they debate? Won't they? Trump now says he has different plans for what could happen in September. Let's bring in our political panel this morning. Some familiar faces here at the desk once again. Good to see you. Drew Lippman is a Democratic strategist and former chief of staff for Senator Al Franken. And Nicole Bennett is a GOP strategist and vice chair of the Maryland Republican Party. I want to start, though, locally here. The former president has now incorporated into his stump speech a blistering description of Washington, D.C., crime in this city, and the conditions in this city, not only for the people who live here, but the people who might visit here. Nicole, what is the purpose of that? Is the president, looking to become the de facto governor of the District of Columbia, or is this more of a way for him to point at Democratic administrations and how they run Democratic cities?
I think it's more of a reflection of how he views Democrat, especially long-term Democrat-held cities. Crime is crazy. Let's just be very clear about that. But the nation's capital is for all of us. It should be a safe place where you can come with your kids. It'd be great to get some of the blockades and gates down, to get back to what it was prior to maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago. I think it's a good look. A little harsh, but a good look.
But yeah. Drew, if you rewind the clock to exactly 4 years ago where we are right now, we had massive protests in this city during the George Floyd Black Lives Matter protest. There was, vandalism, graffiti. St. John's Church across the street from the Lafayette Park was burned. We, of course, by the way, had the insurrection. All of that happened while Donald Trump was president. What is the calculus politically when you're making that kind of argument to your supporters about what happened now and maybe not giving a fuller picture of what happened then?
Calculus is never a word I'd use to describe Donald Trump's thought process. It's simpler than that. It's race. He knows that people across America know that D.C. has a very large black population. He wants to say crime and have people here black. That's all it is. I want to move on to the debates. There is a debate over the debates right now. That's always fun. Originally, President Trump and President Biden were supposed to meet on ABC in September. That appears to be off right now. Trump going on his social media platform saying that he agreed to debate Joe Biden on ABC. He did not agree to debate Kamala Harris. So now he wants to debate on Fox on September 4th. Is this just political jockeying, or is the Trump campaign really kind of need to step back and retool how they do a debate against Harris versus how they would have done one against Biden?
Although Harris was going to have a hard time separating herself from the Biden administration's missteps, I do think it's best for the Trump campaign to say, okay, wait, this is a new candidate. Let's take another look. Let's get our strategy together. I think it's pretty smart on his part.
Some of the Democrats have been calling the former president Donald Duck for ducking out of a debate, Drew. But listen, there is an argument that can be made that you're going up a former, California Attorney General. This is somebody who knows how to prosecute a case. You probably do need to take a different approach against the vice president than you would have against President Biden. Doesn't that seem to kind of make sense a little bit? Well, I don't know if Trump's strategy makes sense, but Harris's skill set is very different from Biden's. As you mentioned, she was Attorney General. Before that, she was a big city district attorney. Those are people who try cases. You're constantly improvising for very high stakes when you're trying criminal cases. That's a good skill set for debating. Joe Biden was mainly a senator in Washington, D.C. You're giving a lot of prepared speeches. No one can interrupt you. All right. We'll stay on this for a moment. If this happens, and it's not quite clear right now if a debate is going to happen, Trump of late, since Harris has now ascended to this position, she said she didn't want to be coronated, but to a lot of folks, it looks like she was coronated. How do you prepare if you're Donald Trump for going against the vice president?
the beautiful thing about this is that she has a record. She has policy points that, you know, he could easily bring to the forefront. We talk about immigration. We talk about the worsening job numbers. We're talking about how Americans feel that every day, 20% more, at least 20% more on most of the things that we buy. She can be easily questioned about her part in these things that are happening in our nation now.
As we're talking about vice presidents, the former president said that Harris is now the worst vice president in history. However, it also should be pointed out that his own vice president, Mike Pence, not only ran against him, won't endorse him. Right now, how much of an impact does that kind of argument make when you're talking about somebody who's running for president, not vice president, which is a secondary position on the ticket?
It's not meaningful. People don't really know exactly what the vice president should be doing or should have been doing.
Most vice presidents don't.
They don't, and they don't do much. So Trump needs a different, I think, more substantive argument.
All right, I want to look at the vice presidential pick for Harris right now. We got about 30 seconds. Any leanings right now, either way, do you think any names have popped up?
You know, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I think it'll be Josh Shapiro. I think for a lot of reasons, Shapiro would be a smart pick for her.
Drew, you got any guesses?
Shapiro would be my first guess. Tim Waltz would be second.
Really? Okay, that's surprising. I didn't know if you were going to go with Waltz. I was going to guess you were going to say Kelly, but Tim Waltz.
Yeah, Waltz is my dark horse.
All right.